Hey, what's up everyone? I am Scott, aka Spin Scott, and this is the Contested Reality. Today I'm making a video about what I consider to be a hot topic, and that is the topic of Summer Beta, aka Spring Beta, also known as Wave 2 or Second Wave or Asian Wave. I mean, there's a billion different names that people are coming up with to call this limited reprint, but for the sake of this video, we're going to call it Summer because that's what all the cool kids are calling it, I guess. So anyway, Summer Beta, I'm going to talk briefly about what that is and the history. Then I'm going to show 10 different cards. I'm going to show the cards in the video, but then I'm going to have high-resolution pictures in the video as well, which I've taken using a pretty high-quality camera, using very controlled LED photograph lighting that is tuned specifically to 5600K, so that you can really kind of see the differences and judge for yourself whether you like one print better than the other, or you don't care, or they all look the same, or whatever. So to me, I think there's a difference, and that's what is influencing me to make this video. So let's roll right into the history real quick. So let's rewind all the way back, or not so far back anyway, to November 10th of 2023. That is when Erik's Curiosa released Sorcery Contested Realm Beta Edition. Now obviously that came just after the Alpha Edition was released via Kickstarter, which, by the way, was wildly successful. Congratulations again to the team. It's not easy to succeed with a Kickstarter, and you guys just blew it out of the park. That's fantastic. So, to those who got in on Alpha, congratulations. Unfortunately, I did not. I didn't discover the game until mid to late October, so I pre-ordered some beta. And fortunately, later on, I was able to pick up one box of Alpha, which I was really able to see what people were talking about. But basically, what people were talking about when beta came out was that some folks thought it looked faded or a little bit lighter in color or lighter in saturation and contrast than the alpha version. And I noticed that too, definitely certain cards more than others. And when I was sorting through all of my bulk from many boxes that I opened of beta, I noticed that there was a lot of differences between even the same card. And a couple that come to mind would be Highland Clansman, where the blues and some of the greens were pretty different if you looked at 10 copies of the same card. And then also Lightning Bolt is another one. So you look at some Lightning Bolts from beta, and some almost look like they are like a dark purple, and others look like they are like a blue or darker blue. Some are even a lighter blue shade. And so if you're a crazy collector like I am, you may have collected 2 or 3 different variations of the same beta card, right? And so yeah, I was kind of thinking I wish I could have gotten all of a complete set of alpha out of packs, and I didn't really get to do that. And so I'm totally fine with beta, but then a couple months ago, 2 months ago, somewhere around that time frame, it was announced that Erik's Curiosa was releasing a pretty limited reprint into some underserved areas that did not get the beta product the first time around. Now, if you're in the United States, you were very lucky. The majority of the beta product did come here, and we got to open it in many different stores, and it was pretty readily available. Certainly there were areas of the country that didn't have enough stock, and some stores maybe didn't buy enough, but overall, people could get cards here. Sadly, that wasn't the case for certain areas in Asia and over in Europe and some other parts of the world that just couldn't get product. So I think the company made a great decision making a new print run and making that available to some of those areas that really had demand that wasn't satisfied by the initial supply and the initial distribution. So they sent those cards out. No sooner were those cards starting to be opened that people started posting pictures of this new summer wave of beta. And the cards looked, at least people were saying, they looked a lot darker, a lot more saturated with tons more contrast, and everyone's making a huge deal that, wow, you know, these are starkly different than the original beta. And so I had to see for myself, of course. So at the Spring Sorcery Social over in Baltimore a couple weeks ago, I was fortunate enough to be able to pick up a box of Summer Beta. And so opening those packs, I saw for myself what I felt was a pretty substantial difference. And yeah, it's not going to make me want to go back and ditch all of my original beta cards and recollect the playsets with Summer Beta, but it was enough to make me want to collect at least one of each non-foil in Summer, because I mean they look really good. They're very saturated, and the colors are just stunning, especially under the right lighting. Some cards not so much, others the difference is huge. And so what I'm going to do today is go through 10 cards that I've selected that illustrate those differences that I see, and hopefully you'll be able to see that. I'm going to hold the cards up to the camera, but then I'm also going to post those high-resolution pictures. So may have said that already, but I'm just making sure that I cover everything here. And so I'm going to open the trusty treasure chest. I did not scramble it this time, great. And I'm going to pull out some cards here. So in this stack, we have the original beta edition. And in this stack over here, we have what we're calling Summer Beta. And let's go ahead and look at some examples here. So there are certain colors that were affected by this more than others. And from what I see with my own eyes, the greens and blues were really hit with some differences. And some of the reds maybe, but there are some cards that is not that different. Geomancer is the first one I'm going to show. And so here we have the original beta printing here. I'm going to try to hold them so that there's not a whole lot of glare, but I've got a lot of lights in here, so that's why I'm tilting these down a little bit. And this is the summer printing. Now, I will hold these up, and again, I will put still high resolution images up so you can see, but if you're able to notice here, the summer beta, the greens are a lot darker, and I know this card very well because for the first 4 or 5 months I played Sorcery, I played almost exclusively with the Geomancer. Now, my favorite opponent, she loves playing the Spark Mage, that's hers, and this is the Spark Mage, and here we've got the original beta printing, and here we have the summer beta, and I mean, to me, it's a lot different. This summer has just this really dark, vivid blue. Now, I love it. I think it looks great. And I'm keeping both because, again, I mean, you could come up with reasons to love both. I mean, this one, even though it's a little bit more subtle, it kind of looks like it's air versus this Spark Mage, which is so dark blue. You know, it's almost over the top a little bit, in my opinion. But again, so I'll just keep both. Now, the next card I'm going to look at here is the Aquamarine Core. I was fortunate enough to pull one of these out of one of the summer boxes that I bought. So here on this side right here, we have the original beta printing, and this is the summer. If I had to choose which one of these two I like, I'm going to have to go with the original beta printing because it's got a blue tint even in the white areas, whereas the summer print, it's a lot better contrast, I think, but the blue is more of a grayish tint, and the background is more of a stark white. Now, one of the things that I did notice, because I've got these playmats here, these four are from Melissa Benson's website, and they're awesome. And this, which is very close to the original art, the background is white. So if you look at summer, this resembles, I don't know if you can see it there because of the angles, but this one resembles the original art a lot more than the original beta printing, so if that's worth something to you, great. I've been fortunate to see several of the original paintings of Sorcery cards, and I can tell you that it's my opinion that for the most part the summer printings are more true to the originals than the initial printing of beta. But again, it's not the end of the world. I mean, these cards are made to be played and collected, and you can do all of that with whichever box or whichever pack you get, right? So next I'm going to show everyone's favorite, the Philosopher's Stone. So this one is the original, this is the summer. No, this one, the base color on this is gold, which is it's a yellowish color, right? But it's really gold. And so you can see that on the original, it's a little bit more blended, whereas on the summer, that gold just jumps out, and some of the colors in the stone itself really kind of jump out as well. So I like both of these about the same, and I guess I don't really have to have a favorite, but you know, I want to own both because I like both. And so this next one, I think, is drastically different between the two. This one is Summer River. Not Summer River, sorry. River of Flame. It's Summer Beta River of Flame right here. Okay, so let's get our S's mixed up today. So this is the original here, and as you can see on the summer, this thing looks like it is on fire. Now, I was fortunate enough to pull this out of one of the packs I opened from the box that I opened at the Spring Social, and this is one of the reasons why I just went full on trying to collect a complete one of each art set of summer, because the oranges on this are just, and the reddish tints are just, I mean, they are fire. And because I have an all fire deck, and that's a critical card for it, I love that one. All right, so next up we have the Geistwood, and you can see again, not a ton of difference in here, but definitely more greens in the summer and almost more of a bluish gray tint in the original beta. I like both. Again, maybe I just love Sorcery so much that I'm gonna like anything they put out. I hope that's not the case. I want to be a little bit judgmental, but I just love the game and I love the art. So I mean, what are you gonna say, right? But the summer on this, It does have more of a blue in some of these areas. Ian Miller's art on this is fantastic, by the way. On the original beta printing, those are more gray rather than blue, and I think that looks a little bit more like what the Geistwood should be, because it deals with replicating the Genesis. Also happens as a Deathrite, I believe is what this does. Yeah, Genesis abilities here are also Deathrite abilities. So I like the gray in that rather than the blue in the Summer, but I do love both. Okay, next up is one of my favorite cards that unfortunately you just never see anyone play, and I hope it becomes more powerful as the game evolves. It is pretty cool to use with Kythera Mechanism, and we are talking about the Court Jester. In the Summer, you can see that red is just a lot deeper. And because the background in this, I'm pretty sure, because I looked at this one with a jeweler's loupe really up close, and it was a while ago, but if I remember correctly, the red background on the Court Jester is a bunch of bloody body parts, which I think is kind of cool. I like that dark, crazy, evil kind of stuff, right? And so, if that is true, then this version of the Court Jester, the Summer, is where it's at, because, I mean, man, that blood red just really does the card justice, and even the blue on the cap is really cool. So, like both of those. Now, I will acknowledge that some of these are in top loaders, and some are just in penny sleeves. My original beta set is all on top loaders, and I ran out of top loaders for my Summer, so I need to get more. So these may be a little bit of it may not be showing true to the differences here, but in the images that I'm going to add to the video after I record, there are no sleeves. Those are raw, just naked cards, just sitting there full glory, okay? So next we have Alperspine Pikeman. This is probably the most different to my eye, because on the Summer, these colors are just super vivid, and everything is just a little bit more subdued in the original beta printing. And so, I mean, just the reds and the greens, and even the text boxes actually are pretty close on these, which is interesting, because that means it was almost the painting, the replication of the painting was affected by the change in printing. So, kind of strange. Anyway, two more. We've got Lava Salamander here. Now, I use 2 or 3 of these in my fire deck because they are awesome spellcasters and they're easy to put out. And side comment, a really cool combo if you use Pact with the Devil. This is a really inexpensive minion spellcaster that you can sacrifice to get that amazing 3-card draw. Or if you use a Standing Stones, which is one of my secret weapon sites, you can do it that way as well, using any minion that then becomes a spellcaster because it's on the Standing Stones. What a great site. It's an elite. You can only use 2. I use 2. But anyway, back to Summer. So the Lava Salamander here, you can see the greens in this one are just deeper, and it just looks great. I mean, you know, again, I don't regret buying so much early beta. It's all good. They're all playable. But it is something to note, and I have heard, and this is speculation, I don't believe there's been any official announcements yet, but I have heard that Arthurian Legends is going to be printed more along the lines of the quality that Summer Beta was printed. So if that's true, it's going to be amazing, because if you've seen any, I think there's been 4 or 5, maybe 6 spoiled cards already from Arthurian Legends, and they look awesome, okay? And so regardless of how, I mean, they could be printed in grayscale and I'd still buy them, whatever. Anyway, Step or Steep, I call it Step. You can see in this one that the Summer is a lot more saturated again with the yellows and golds. I prefer the original beta version of this versus the Summer, because the original, it looks like, I mean, this is a earth and fire site, and so it's supposed to simulate, in my opinion, a desert. I mean, that's what it is, but the sun is pretty much just sucking all the life out of the desert, and so here it really looks like it's becoming a dehydrated landscape, and this almost looks too rich with the gold. So I'm going to vote for my favorite of the Step being the original beta print. So that is the 10 cards that I've selected. If you have any, if you've seen any of these cards and you have both, go ahead and make a comment in the YouTube video here. Tell me which ones you think are the most different. Or if you just think that people like me are crazy and it doesn't matter and there is no difference, and you know, we just can't wait to buy Arthurian Legends, so we have to come up with some kind of crazy reason to buy more beta. Whatever it is, I would love to hear from you. I don't get a lot of comments on this channel because it's relatively new. If you want to check out my other music channel, that is the Spin Scott channel, and I've got a lot more viewers and subscribers there because that channel has been around for something like 13 years. And so I'm not merging the two, but sometimes I'll use music from that in videos. I'm using some very special music in this video. So if you have any questions about that, you can ask in the comments about that as well. But anyway, I want to end this video like I always do on this channel, and that is with a card that right now, at the time of filming, is my favorite card and the one that is most special to me. And so I'm going to pull that out of the box here, and that is the Summer Beta Foil Pathfinder. Okay. Again, it's in a top loader. I'll pop it out here so that you can see very carefully. Do a little snap there, and we will peek it out. I'm not going to slide it out all the way, but yeah, you can see, if you can see that without any glare, these beta foils in summer. I should probably do another video on that because they look just wild. And I had such a hard time pulling Pathfinders out of my original beta openings. And then I pulled this out of summer, and I was just ecstatic. I love foil avatars, so this was great. I also got a foil Geomancer, a foil Spark Mage, which you've seen both of, and I also got a Battle Mage. No, it was a Death Speaker out of the box I opened at the Cup, and so really got lucky, which is just unusual for me, so I'm very happy with that. But anyway, that is my video for today. I hope you enjoyed this overview and comparison of the original beta printing of Sorcery Contested Realm compared to the summer printing. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Believe it or not, that does help with showing the videos around and everyone's favorite algorithms and all of that. If you like the channel, go ahead and hit a subscription on there. You can also check out, I have an Instagram channel that is the same thing. It's The Contested Reality on Instagram. Other than that, I want to make my usual recommendation to make sure that you subscribe and follow the official Sorcery Contested Realm sites and socials, because again, they are doing some amazing reveals and the content there is just top notch. So thank you again for being here. My name is Scott, aka Spin Scott, and this has been a presentation on The Contested Reality.